with. There's a lot of data out there that shows 4 estimates actually perform a lot better than 3. And it can bring up your ticket price by doing 4 rather than 3, because typically what happens when you do 3, they gravitate towards the middle, but there a lot of times they downshift to the bottom one, versus when you have 4, they now consider option 2 or 3, and then if they do downgrade, you're still now on your better. So for example, normally hide the upper levels. Yeah. So our 4 go like this. We have a top price anchor one. So let me just show you guys. The other key thing is if you are presenting this, you have to, in my opinion, it's absolutely essential that you start with the most expensive one. In what is known as price anchoring. So Alex Hormozi talks about it, that the first price, oh no, it's the bare bones. The first price that they see should make them gasp. All right. Meaning that they should go, oh, whoa. Yep. And you should expect that. And so for our customers that are looking, that are in forever homes, that have told us like, hey, we're going to be here for the next 20 years, or even the next 10 to 20, whatever the case is, then we always present a stone-coated steel option first. And we preface it by saying, hey, this is, what we wanted to show you is just a metal shingle. We do have 3 other packages with the regular shingles, but a lot of our homeowners like to look at a roof that's the last roof they'll ever need. So we'll run through it really quick. I'll show you, what's out there. But just keep in mind, this is a metal shingle, and the other ones are going to be at a different investment level. Okay, awesome, great. We get into it. We always have our monthly options at the top, because a lot of times, even on a high ticket item, they'll go, oh, it's only $500 a month. That's not that bad. And then we come down, and so this would be our, keep in mind this price. So here's so about $50K for this stone-coated steel shingle roof. All right. Here's our bonuses, which I'll go more into in a second. But so this would be our first thing we come out, and they go, oh man, that's, they're gonna be shocked by it. Yep, that's why I have 4 or 3 other packages that might fit you better. But a lot of times they'll go, man, $50K, I was hoping it was gonna be like 25. And they'll let some of the it will let some of the price conditioning come out. And they'll give you some insight sometimes. The other thing, I like to negotiate, or I like to talk about price on a package they're not considering. So if they say that's really expensive, what makes you say it's expensive? Or you say expensive is that what makes you say that? Can you unpack that a little bit? Oh, I was hoping it was going to be this or this. Or man, that's like twice as much as I was hoping. Okay, completely understand. Again, this is our last roof you'll ever need. This is going to be a 50-year roof. Now we'll take a look at some 25 and 30-year roofs. But just keep in mind that this was a metal option. So I'm going to send the next one over, okay? And they say yes. And then now we're into the bulletproof, which a lot of times we're doing either an ICO cool shingle or a class 4, depending on where it's at. And now when we come down, 26,000 looks a lot better after you just looked at 49,000, right? We're still doing a 25-year workmanship warranty. We're still doing peel and stick underlayment. So they still get a really amazing system, really long warranty. We also do things like added ventilation. This is in Arizona, where our biggest kind of pain point for most homeowners is heat. So that's why we have the cool shingle. That's why we have the attic fan. That's why we have these things that speak more to the pain that they're feeling. Versus if I was in a hail market, it would be a lot more focused around hail. If I was in a cold market, I might even consider some things that would keep the house warmer in the winter. I'm not sure if we don't really do anything that keeps anything warmer, but if there is any upgrades, like, I don't know, Eve heaters, I've had people ask about when we used to be in Colorado. I don't know if anybody actually does those, but things like that. Maybe something like that's related to snow, like on a metal roof, like snow guards. Stuff that's gonna pull something that's painful. Like here in Arizona, in New Mexico, in Florida, when summer hits, you're like, oh my gosh. And so now if I can tie my roof to helping solve that deep-seated, oh my gosh, when I go in my attic, it's brutal. Or when when winter comes, it's just a nightmare. Something that presents this as helping solve that emotional problem. You can build a lot of value with that. All right. So total price point on this one, 26,000 versus 49. Okay. Next one is going to be our peace of mind package. So biggest difference with this is that they are not getting the cool shingle and they're not getting the upgraded ventilation. So they lose kind of the cooling aspect, but we went from 26 and some change to 24 and some change. So about a 10% reduction. All right. And then our final one drops all the way down to 22. So about another 10% there. And then if they were told us that, hey, we're like, this is just, we're just doing a real estate, it's we want just the cheapest price, et cetera, whatever, then we wouldn't present the top package. We would not present the stone coated steel. We would start with the bulletproof. And then our final one here would be our shingle bare bones, which gets the price all the way down to 20,000. All right. Alex asks, can you make a video on how you present all the packages like you did with Adam on the solar? I can do a training on it. I don't know if I can do a whole video, but the training would be downloadable. So yes, we can. I can do that. All right. So that's how we set these packages up. Okay. And now the reason for this is how it ties into the negotiation of it, because it gives people a very kind of easy, what they think is an easy negotiation. They're like, hey, I want, the peace of mind package for the essentials package price, right? And they don't think that's a big, we're going from 24 to 22. Okay. And so they're basically asking for a 10% discount. And it gives an easy point for us to start the negotiation. And with that, what we have found is when they ask that question, we want to identify, why do they want the peace of mind package? Is it the warranty or is it the actual product? Meaning there's two different things that happen with that package. One is, a peel and stick underlayment. They've watched our YouTube video where it's now, you don't have to install 10,000 nails on your roof. It's one giant sticker. And a lot of people will come to the call and say, man, I don't want that many nails on the roof. Okay, so they definitely want the product. Other people want the warranty, the 25-year workmanship warranty versus the 10-year. Well, for us, and what we have found is all workmanship issues come up really in the first year, sometimes in the second year, but I don't think I've ever had a workmanship issue come up in year 4, year 5, or anything like that. So for me, the workmanship warranty is all based on, it's all marketing. We're willing to come out in year 8 and fix a workmanship issue, but the reality is if we don't install the roof correctly the first time, it's going to show up very quickly. The first big storm, the first big, monsoon, whatever. So I have no issue doing a 10-year warranty on workmanship versus a 15-year. And so why this is important, and if you can start giving things of value that have no dollar cost to you, you will win more deals and not eat into your margins. Meaning, so they want the peace of mind package at 24K, but they want it for the essentials at 22K. Where everybody's mind normally goes to is, okay, great, what if we just do the peace of mind at 23K? Where our mind should go to, though, is what makes them want the peace of mind. If it's the warranty, then can we get to the same point and do the essentials at $22K with a 15-year warranty? Or can we do the peace of mind package at the same cost, but we add in an additional bonus? Instead of starting within 14 days, we start within 10 days. Instead of allowing for 5 sheets of decking, we allow for 8 sheets of decking. Now, that might cost you some money, but at the end of the day, 3 sheets of decking isn't going to cost you a ton, but it's going to leave the homeowner feeling like they won. And that is one of the big things to understand. Homeowners want to feel like they won. And so it's not always going to be, if they truly want to do business with you, and that's something that we identify before we get into pricing. If they truly want to do business with us and we have a 24K quote and there's another guy with a 23K quote, one, it's not going to be apples to apples, but I guarantee you if you have built up that real rapport and there's that real trust and this is who they want to do business with, they're not going to not do business with you over $1,000. But they will opt out of doing business with you if they feel like you are not willing to negotiate with them and not willing to work with them. And so that's where we want to negotiate on things that don't cost us money. All right. Now, one very, very powerful question when they ask, hey, can you do the essentials for the peace of mind? I love to ask this question because it gets them going. Or gets them thinking.